Yeah, it's football. Football is like a long snuff film.
This ain't no game, Flash.
Joe Hallenbeck's a private detective who's run out of luck.
If you touch me again, I'll kill you.
2 for 2.
Told you.
Jimmy Dix
I like Prince.
is an ex-quarterback who was thrown out of football.
Another tragic tale of wasted youth. You're nobody. Shh. Don't tell anyone.
Hello, welcome back to the Waffle Press Podcast. I'm your host, Diego Crespo. In this episode of Let's Talk About Movies, I bring on another guest to talk about The Last Boy Scout. We're doing some counterintuitive, counter-programming for Super Bowl Sunday. So if you're listening to this on Super Bowl Sunday, hello.
Fuck the system.
Fuck the system. Football's kind of bad. I like Super Bowl parties as much as the next person. But let's talk a little bit about why this is weird. My guest host today is Matt Garingo from the Retrospectives and the Christmas Chronicles episode. But today we're here to talk about Tony Scott's The Last Boy Scout, the great action hero filmmaker Tony Scott, who's probably the best Scott. I think rewatching this like a dozen times in the last year kind of solidified that for me. Like Ridley Scott will always have my heart for Blade Runner and Alien. But Tony Scott, man, that guy, he had something.
I think what we can say is Ridley Scott, Alien and Blade Runner put together is probably better than Tony Scott's entire filmography. But Tony Scott has more films that are worth actually watching.
I'm curious because they have like Tony Scott and Ridley Scott come from the same era of those filmmakers that started doing a lot of commercials and they got to like exercise their styles and like their visual acumen. Fincher came from the same school, Michael Bay, but Tony Scott and Ridley Scott were really the big ones that like kind of broke ground a lot. And obviously a lot of people know the style from like Top Gun and stuff like that. Like that's not a style that's just married to one of Tony Scott's movies. That's all of his movies. Look like that in some capacity.
Top Gun might be the worst example of it, to be honest.
Oh yeah. I think we've mentioned it on the show before. We're not fans of that, but it is, I think, interesting that that's the one that people are drawn to.
The only Tony Scott films that seem to get any play with people that I know is Top Gun, which is I don't like, Beverly Hills Cop 2, which I do not like, and True Romance, which is pretty damn good.
Yeah, True Romance is maybe my favorite Tony Scott movie. I don't know. It's tough.
It's
up
a pretty
there.
good one. It's
Yeah.
pretty good.
I like Beverly Hills Cop too, so I think we're gonna differ there.
I've said, I think I've said on the show, I just don't understand the Beverly Hills Cop thing at all. Like I've never been into any of them. Uh, George Lucas has a cameo in Beverly Hills Cop 3.
Oh, well, Beverly Hills Cop 3 is like the worst movie ever made.
Oh yeah,
It's that's unwatchable.
the one where Eddie Murphy said, "I'm not gonna do it funny."
Yeah, and everyone was like, "What?"
What?
Yeah. Which is kind of funny to hear a star call the shots like that on a movie in the 90s because that's almost kind of what happens in The Last Boy Scout.
Mm-hmm.
Written by retrospective mainstay Shane Black.
Yep.
I believe the first film to be sold for like $3 million or something like that, the script.
Yeah, it set a record when it was sold.
Yeah, and he got a lot of friend falling outs, or what he presumed to be friends in the industry, because everyone was like, I guess, kind of jealous and upset that like, oh, like this guy is like, this is like his fourth official feature that he wrote. Also, it's not like he was there for a while, so I can kind of see people be upset at him, but it's not like it was his fault, you know.
I'd hope I wouldn't be that type of person, but I feel like I might be that type of person. If you got $1 million for something, I might not take it well.
I'd get that.
It doesn't help that I don't respect your opinion in any way.
Yeah, no, it'd be a nightmare for you. So Shane Black wrote it, and Bruce Willis is coming off of 2 Die Hard films where he had to save his wife in each of them. And The Last Boy Scout underwent dramatic reshoots and rewrites. Mostly rewrites, though. It's the most rewriting Shane Black's ever had to do, he said.
And he did it himself.
He did it himself, as far as I know. I'm sure there were other
Tony
hands
Scott.
there.
Tony Scott's notorious for bringing on like tons of ghostwriters for his movies.
All right, so here's what's going on. We'll get into the movie, but here's what the production was like in this movie. So you got Joel Silver from Silver Pictures. Joel Silver is an aggressively
One of the silverback gorillas of '90s Hollywood.
he is like, as far as we know, the less malicious Harvey Weinstein. Like I don't want to put that label on anyone else, but like in terms of like production executions, Joel Silver would like he would be very hands on, is what the actor who played Milo the henchman in this said, and I think he was putting it politically correct. You know,
Might explain why Taylor Negron didn't exactly have a huge career.
yeah,
Which is a shame because Taylor Negron was great.
yeah. And then you got Damon Wayans, who's an up and coming star at this point. Who did not get along with Bruce Willis at all, and Bruce Willis asked that, or not asked, he's asked and politely, demanded probably, that he did not want to spend another second half of a film having to rescue his wife from the bad guys. And all the while this is going on, the budget starts blowing up because there's a lot of set pieces that go into this in the original script. It goes. Not to get too into. We'll go along as we go along, breaking down the official film. But there's like a detour to Catalina. There's a chase. Well, there's a car chase sequence here, but it's like in the backwoods of LA as opposed to like what it originally was through like Beverly Hills all the way down to like Sunset Boulevard. It's there's a helicopter and boat chase, and it's just like crazy.
Okay. I think I don't like to say that executive meddling helped this film, but I think we might have gotten the better movie.
There's some stuff that like there's some setup and payoff stuff in terms of like Joe's bodyguard background that pays off really well. In the original draft, he is shot by like a sniper while protecting the president, and he keeps that sniper rifle. And then later in the film, when him and Jimmy are going all out to save the day, he kind of he's being framed all the while, right? And so to save everyone, he has to like become that assassin,
Okay.
so to speak. And it was kind of this cool full circle thing.
Did they go into the assassin more in the original script?
Not the identity, but the event itself and how like it changed him
Okay.
a little bit more. But in terms of streamlining it, this is way better.
Yeah, I think it's a little more streamlined. Also, I gotta just say, like, it's a movie, so who gives a shit? But why would anyone let him have the sniper rifle?
Yeah, I don't.
Shouldn't that be in like the FBI headquarters or something?
Yeah.
I don't think they just give out the Lee Harvey Oswald rifle.
Yeah. Well, I mean, no one stopped him.
Well, they could have given it to Jack Ruby's family.
Oh, that's bad.
Yeah.
I'll leave it in though. So the last Boy Scout is about
All right.
Joe Hallenbeck.
Doyle Murray. Like fucking Jack Ruby in the film JFK. So fucking ridiculous.
All right, so the last Boy Scout is about Joe Hallenbeck, hard-boiled private detective. Surprise! It's a Shane Black script. And
Former Secret Service agent.
And Jimmy Dix, who is a former football star turned slacker, drug addict.
I mean, that's kind of where he's at. He doesn't seem to have
Yeah.
much else going on.
Yeah, no. Hanging around strip clubs because that's where his girlfriend is. Although his opening scene, he's in bed with another woman. There is more of that in the original script too.
Mm-hmm.
How that's not the first time he's done that, and how
That opening's weird.
it is weird.
His introduction's weird.
Yeah.
Um,
But there's more of that, and how like it's not the first time he's done that, and it's implied that he's addicted to sex as much as he is addicted to cocaine. That's what
Okay.
he's doing, right? Cocaine.
he's doing a type of painkiller, like an illegal painkiller.
Oh, okay.
It's a
I don't know drugs.
heroin type drug. It's not heroin, but it's a heroin type drug, from what I understand.
Okay. No, I'm not cool. I just drink alcohol and smoke.
I don't know
so.
anything about any drug ever.
Okay.
I don't even know what exactly I'm putting into my body that my doctors are prescribing me. I've given up. I've got like fucking 50 pills. I can't keep track of anything.
And much like the Lethal Weapon films, it's about how these two disparate souls wind up needing each other and making each other a little bit better in the process. It's a little meaner and a lot more cynical, and the violence is even more vicious than any of the films.
Mhm.
And it opens with a very fun little theme song that Matt loves a lot.
Every fumble's a rumble.
It has some very concrete thoughts about how the NFL treats people, specifically black people.
Yes.
And I tend to lean more in that direction as well.
Uh,
But
yeah, this movie, it's interesting that it's like a mixture of a celebration of football, but also tells you exactly why it's terrible. Yeah, this movie's got a lot to it. Um, yeah, production that went out of control, budget boomed, and then fucking ballooned. Fuck. Uh, and then it flopped when it came out.
yeah, it's really too bad. I don't know what happened.
You know what? I can tell you what it was. This was not the movie for the 90s. The 90s was about to become all disaffected and like Pulp Fiction's just around the corner, so everyone's like turning on action movies.
Hmm.
Um, and yeah, that's what I think happened.
You think it would have done better now? Like if it was somehow made today instead?
If if you made it today but set it in the 90s, it
Oh.
I think the 90s setting is what makes this film. It's like Tony Scott predicted what the 90s aesthetic was going to be in 1991.
Yeah.
Like, because I mean, the look of this film, I don't like it. I remember seeing it in like fucking Bad Boys, and that came later. Bad Boys has a very similar look to this.
Yeah.
Uh, and then you get like very garish versions of this, like Swordfish in like 2000.
A film I've actually never seen.
Not you don't need to.
Okay.
You don't. It's so bad. It's like trying to be like Pulp Fiction and like The Last Boy Scout.
That sounds weird.
It's yeah, but it's like fascinating, but it like doesn't gel at all.
Hmm.
Like you have John Travolta being like, you know what I love about movies? Like so he talks to the camera, like he's a charismatic terrorist.
Oh God.
Yeah. Hey, 2001, it's like 3 months before 9/11. That's what we thought terrorism was.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That could. I mean, I guess it could have come out at a worse time, like the weekend of 9/11, but
Yeah,
still.
it's fascinating to see like what we thought terrorism was.
Oh.
And it's like, what's his name? Who is it? Hugh Jackman's a hacker. And like you
Oh,
gotta
that's like Chris. That's like Chris Hemsworth being a hacker.
yes.
Love it. Love it.
You gotta hack the system. And oh no, you hacked it. You hacked the hack. Like, it's so stupid. Halle Berry's in it, connected to this film.
Oh yeah, yeah. Halle Berry's first official film role.
Hey, I did not know that going in, so I was a little shocked when she exits the picture pretty early.
Yeah. So again, this is a discussion completely on The Last Boy Scout, its history, its production, our thoughts on the film, and surprisingly, the richer like ideas in it. So if you
Yeah.
haven't seen The Last Boy Scout, please check it out. And just as like as a standard, whenever these episodes go up, if you haven't seen the film, should probably watch it before.
You don't have to watch everything we talk about because some of it really isn't, like most of the Halloween sequels.
Yeah.
But this one is really worth seeking out. So when did you first see Last Boy Scout?
Because it was always on cable for a couple years, bits and pieces. But I don't think I fully saw it like all the way through until like maybe 2013, 2014.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think I mentioned on an previous episode of this podcast that I was getting ready to sit down to rewatch it for the first time since the 90s. So I think I say in one of the episodes, like, yeah, I just got a copy of The Last Boy Scout. I've wanted to watch it. And so I would say in the last 6 months it was when I finally revisited it because I saw part of it when I was younger, and I had like memories of it because it's like not a movie that you can forget. So I have memories of the opening murder suicide on the football field. I have very clear memories of Taylor Negron going into the helicopter blades. I had one of those ones where it was like a dormant memory where when the furry Tom scene happened, like suddenly it came flooding back.
Oh, I'll say for the record, that plays better in the movie. It's very different in the script, and it's not as fun.
Okay, it's great in this version. And I also remember the guy getting shot by the pool. And I will say, I mentioned Swordfish. I would get this movie confused with Swordfish in my young mind.
Huh.
That's just how my brain. I combined tons of movies at the time. Swordfish has, I believe, a car going into a pool in it as well.
Hmm.
So I think that's where I combined the things.
The most prominent image in my mind that I never forgot was the guy running down the football field and suddenly shooting everyone.
I also got this movie confused with Oliver Stone's Any Given Sunday,
Holy shit.
which that's a crazy movie about football, but it doesn't have a murder suicide in it. I love the terrible attempts to come up with fake football names in both movies. The Cats and the Stallions are ready to do it. Although I will say I understand so little about football that I did not understand that is no Friday night football until I watched this and had someone watching it with me point that out.
Yeah, that's not a thing. I don't know that much about football, but that is yeah, I know that's not a thing.
The only thing I know about football is that I hate the Patriots. I hate football as a sport. I don't find it enjoyable at all.
Yeah, like Super Bowl Sundays, the most exciting part for me when I was like growing up, like at family gatherings and stuff. I just
Mhm.
like the commercials
I
and the
know a
food.
lot of people are
Yeah.
like that. I like trying to do counter programming like this fucking podcast. Now I will always like watch something else and then tag Super Bowl Sunday in it.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, that's my very, very, very futile attempt to rebel against Super Bowl Sunday.
Well, here's something interesting then. I was thinking about bringing it up later, but might as well bring it up now. The conspiracy like mystery plot of the film turns out to revolve around legalizing gambling in the NFL,
Mhm.
and that is like a thing now.
Yeah, that happened just last year.
Yep. So this movie is the plot would not work today anymore. Oh, I guess in a way it still probably could. It would just have to be about not gambling.
Well,
I'm sure there's something else in the NFL they could write about.
now it works like the Nice Guys does about the catalytic converters and all that stuff. But yeah, I mean, it's a shame because this movie's kind of making a point about, I mean, it's very clearly illustrated in how Jimmy Dix is run out of the league for gambling, but now they're going to legalize it so the fucking owners can make more money, you know?
Yeah.
Now they wanted to, he got punished for something that will now benefit the people who already control the sport. There's a lot of that in this film.
Yeah, I mean again cuz the opening with
Running back Billy Cole.
yeah, it opens with him saying ain't life a bitch and blowing his goddamn brains out.
After shooting like three other players.
Yeah.
Um,
Basically because of the people in charge of the teams and the system
yeah, he's
like pushing
pressured.
him to that point.
He's threatened to do it. I mean, it's basically like, if you can't score this touchdown, you're no longer valuable, so we're gonna kill you.
And like the fact that this movie exists with that statement in it is like insane. It might be the most insane thing in this movie, and it happens in the beginning. But this movie is fucking crazy, so I don't
It's
know.
pretty nuts, but like I think the shock of it is like, what the fuck? I do think this is one of those movies where it's structured kind of like a noir type film a little bit, where like sometimes the information is delivered to you in a convoluted way. but when you really break it down, it's not that convoluted of a story, you know?
Yeah.
How this movie decides to give you information, you'd be like, I can understand someone getting to the end of this movie and being like, wait, what the fuck was that opening about? Because you get the way stuff is doled out to you, unless you're really paying attention, which even I don't a lot of the time. Um, I could see certain things being missed. I need to watch most movies like twice to really get them. Because of recently rewatching this has become one of those movies I'm obsessed with now. So I'm like rewatching it constantly.
Oh, it's endlessly rewatchable for me.
Yeah,
I could put it on like however, because even without like all the stuff we're diving into, Tony Scott, he always just had such an eye for like delivering action or like just moment to moment like ingenuity and like his visual storytelling, like the way he could create like because it is very much like a hard boiled like noir film. Even when Bruce Willis is like chilling in the office, it's kind of like a more modern Blade Runner look.
well, there's definitely like noir lighting in that, with the blinds and all that. But one thing that I find odd about this is that the action in this movie is like vicious. Tony Scott is known for his action, but he makes like one of the most vicious action movies ever. And then Shane Black is known for his, comedic writing. But here, like, I will say, I've watched this and I don't really laugh at any of the jokes in it. Like, there's this just deep underlying sadness and damage to like all the humor in this.
Oh, everyone in this movie is crazy fucked up and an asshole.
Yeah, like, but it's what I'm saying is like, when someone delivers a joke, there's like a uncomfortable truth like hidden in it. Like, uh, and I can kind of understand why this maybe didn't resonate with audiences of the time, who maybe wanted a more fun action movie. But I don't understand the '90s. The '90s sucked.
There's interesting stuff going on. There's a lot of birth of like interesting filmmakers, but it's hard to pin down
Mhm.
for sure.
Well, that's what this '90s is, the generation of like, I'm not a part of this system. And like the Last Boy Scout kind of has a message about how you can't just fucking unplug from the system. And I don't think people were ready for that. I think it says something about how well received the first Matrix was and how poorly received the later two were. Because the Matrix kind of ends up being the perfect '90s film. Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of an uncomfortable movie.
It is. I find myself laughing at the jokes, and like I personally I'm turned off when people are like, like I just want people to push buttons, like like comedy's supposed to be offensive, don't you get it? It's satire, and like I don't think this qualifies as satire, but I could tell that like someone with that sort of regular mentality, which is wrong by the way, that they would probably love this movie, and so I like questioned myself. I'm like, oh god, am I one of them? Or is that just like me liking the movie?
I honestly think this is one of those examples. I think it's kind of like Punisher Warzone, where you get people who are like, I want something that really pushes boundaries. And then they get it, and then it's too much for them. I'm willing to bet like people who think they're edgy will watch this and they'll walk away with very confused emotions. Because this is a movie about how society will destroy your body. There's a scene in this. Damon Wayans has to give a monologue in this about how his life has been destroyed by football, and he's giving it while blood is dripping out of his jaw.
Oh, this is his best performance by like miles.
Oh, definitely. But like, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's parts where like a person can get injured in a movie where it's like you can live with someone getting like shot in the kneecap or like shot in the arm or something, or like even like someone's head getting blown off. Like you can take that. But like there's something about like the teeth or like fingers or like the nose or the eye, like that if those are what get fucked up, it can like really mess you, like it can really make you uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And I think this movie just goes for that constantly.
Beyond belief, because this had to avoid an NC-17 rating. They had to keep cutting back the action. So like the action had to be chopped up more in the editing room because the way they shot it, the people at the MPAA or whatever the fuck, they were like, you can't show this. Like this is too much.
Where they have to cut around violence, but then they have to like still explain what the fuck just happened. Add a sound effect that makes it so much worse. I think about the guy who gets his nose like punched into his brain and kills him.
Oh, okay. I'm so tempted to just put that scene here because that's like my favorite scene in the movie.
That's incredible, but the sound it makes is like like, that could like just think that's how you die. Fucking your oh my god, that's a nightmare. That is so horrifying.
And who that happens to is character actor Tim Coates,
Yes.
remarkable character actor. I'm very happy he's still with us. Didn't realize how old he is.
What else was he in?
He is in one of the Resident Evil sequels.
Yeah.
He was in all 7 seasons of Sons of Anarchy. I kind of tapped out towards the end because even I have my limits. A bunch of other shit that I can't remember off the top of my head, but he's in a lot.
What from this era? From
Resident Evil.
Of this movie, I mean.
Oh, I don't know. Probably just like bit roles like
Was
this.
he in Die Hard? Was he like one of the guys in Die Hard?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, he's not in any Die Hard.
I keep trying to remember because I remember that face in something from that era, but I can't think of what it was. Also, I should mention the other guy with him who doesn't get his nose punched was the projectionist in the '80s Blob film, which is one of my favorites.
Oh, the '80s Blob is awesome.
He's the guy with the yo-yo, the yo-yo ceiling.
Not quite as vicious as this film, but there is a meanness to that one that I kind of like too.
That Blob movie fucking fucked me up. So that is a disturbing film. That movie's a nightmare, and no one dies like easy in that film. This is a vicious film.
I believe in the as they gear up for the third act, Jimmy calls out Hallenbeck for being like the weirdest. Having like the weirdest sense of honor ever because he's trying to avenge the dude who slept with his wife, and save the guy who ruined his life. And it's just like, wow, there are no heroes here.
Well, because Bruce Willis is the last Boy Scout.
Aha.
He does what's right.
Yeah.
And doing what right has destroyed his life and his relationships. I should mention how I believe this is the true sequel to Die Hard.
Yes. Would you like to get into that?
Well, all right. Let's just if you were to change the writing of the film a little bit, it would basically be John McClane. Instead of saving the president, he's just the hero from Nakatomi Plaza. You know, you would get some notoriety for that.
Yeah.
Ignore all the other Die Hard films, by the way. Like, this is Die Hard 2.
Yeah, I could accept this.
But, and off that, he gets, like, a celebrity-type job, you know, as a bodyguard to the senator, so that senator shit still goes down, right?
Mm-hmm.
You understand? You follow me so far?
I follow you.
So now, because of that, to be the last Boy Scout, to be the guy he wants to be, he's had to shut himself off emotionally from the world. He can't really feel anything. Because he's not even like an angry guy in this. When he catches his wife cheating, he's not angry, which is what makes it so disturbing. And, you know, I'm just saying I can see it because, you know, John McClane had a daughter. So
That's right.
Daniel Harris kind of falls into that. His wife, you just have to make Holly Gennaro turn into a woman who would cheat on John McClane.
Yeah.
I can make that. You can make that work. And you know what you also could do? And also you could replace Bruce McGill with Reginald Bell Johnson.
No, no, that's so.
Yes.
That's fucked up. That's too much.
Sergeant Powell is the one.
No.
Cheats. Who has an affair with John McClane's wife.
It just happened, John.
It just happened, John. You could see it happening.
I don't think I
Don't lie
can.
to me.
I don't want to see that happen.
I don't give a shit. That's how it happens. That's why this movie's evil and it's great.
Oh my god.
Well, see, I mean, and then you see, like, again, I also think this movie's kind of a little connected to Unbreakable because Bruce Willis repeats the whole, you know, emotional stuntedness in Unbreakable. You see the very similar. There's a lot of similarities in the characters. The only difference is that in Unbreakable, he's unbreakable.
And here he is very much not.
But I'm saying I do believe this is a perfect sequel to Die Hard.
I'm not putting that image in my brain
Joel Hill
anymore.
Johnson is in the closet.
No.
He comes sniffling out.
Whoops, sorry, Mrs. McClane. I guess it just isn't my week.
Instead of the toilet seat being up, he finds a Twinkie wrapper.
Wow. No.
And now,
No.
like, that great bonding moment is ruined in the original Die Hard.
Oh no. Yeah, that might be too much.
That's what I'm saying. That's what happened.
Oh god.
This is Reginald Vell Johnson.
Now I hate this.
And then Reginald Vell Johnson blows up in a car bomb.
Oh.
Hey, at least he have more to fucking do in this movie than he did in Die Hard 2.
I don't. Well, physically yes, but you know, he'd have the same amount of screen time,
This
kind
would
of.
be a goddamn reason to bring him back.
Yeah.
Fucking do it, you cowards. Hollywood's full of cowards. Audiences are just nothing but cowards. They can't. This beautiful art I'm trying to drop right here.
Hey, you know what? It's kind of amazing that Shane Black never got a Die Hard sequel.
I'm willing to bet he was at least considered at one point.
Especially because of the Silver Pictures connection. Like,
Although maybe his experience with Bruce Willis on this made him say no.
oh, that's also true. Oh, well, I mean, Joel Silver is the one that took the title of Die Hard from either this or Lethal Weapon. I forget.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Die Hard's a better title for Die Hard.
Yeah.
And The Last Boy Scout is a better title for this.
Yeah.
Same with Lethal Weapon. What about Loaded Weapon 1?
I've never seen it.
It's not good.
Okay.
John McClane is in Loaded Weapon.
Oh, that's that gag where he jumps out of the exploding building, right?
Yes.
Okay, I'm familiar with that.
Movie's terrible.
Okay.
One of Samuel Jackson's first movies. Remember when Samuel Jackson got his brains blown out in Goodfellas?
Y'all got to start somewhere.
Yeah, hey. Stacks. Everyone likes Stacks.
And then he would go on to star in Shane Black's The Long Kiss Goodnight.
Yes, which is another underrated film.
Yeah, his favorite performance ever, he said.
I think I heard him say that recently,
Yeah.
which is interesting to me. Because I don't think he ever got better than Jackie Brown.
Oh, Jackie Brown's so fucking good.
So fucking good in Jackie Brown.
Yeah.
Why doesn't he have an Oscar? That's bullshit.
That's crazy.
The Academy's
That's
bullshit.
like Gary Oldman on having one without the wife beating.
Yes.
So it's worse. It's worse in this scenario because this is a good person.
But he doesn't even get nominated. It's such bullshit. Tragedy.
Yeah.
Tragedy all around, including in this film. I don't even know where to go with this movie.
Yeah, because like I was like, even like just a scene by scene basis, like it's again, it's not that this film is complex; it's that the information's delivered like complexly.
Yeah.
And you look at the whole thing, it's like that wasn't that complicated. But if you're just walking out of it at a first viewing, it might be like it takes some time to process. Like, hey, hang on, I don't know if this made sense, and everything connects. Even though Shane Black had to rewrite from like the fucking ground up at times, everything somehow still flows.
Yeah,
Semi naturally.
I guess it might be a testament to just Shane Black's skills as a writer, and probably why you should keep the original writer working on subsequent drafts.
Yeah, that's. I hear that helps.
Yeah, because that doesn't seem to be something Hollywood does a lot these days. I mean, even in films I like, you can tell they did rewrites, but if it's from the original writer, it tends to work.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can feel some rewrites going on in The Last Jedi, especially around Holdo.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
This is interesting. I haven't.
You don't pick up on that?
No.
I'm in a weird spot right now because I love that movie, but I feel like it's getting like people are ignoring that there are some flaws in it. but no more than like the average Star Wars film.
Yeah, like every Star Wars movie has like a thing.
Yeah,
You
so
know,
like
like it's a movie. It's not like a mathematical calculation that's gonna be perfect.
yeah, but it's just like I feel like some people we need to kind of go like, hey, look, that was a little weird. But the problem is no one can be that way. It's either got to be the greatest thing ever or it destroyed Western civilization,
Yeah.
according to Joe Rogan.
God, no, no, no. I'd rather hear Reginald Bell Johnson in bed with Holly McClane.
You're coming around on my
No, I'm
idea.
not. But I'd rather hear that fictional shit than that real shit.
Just blowing up in that car. Um,
That's so fucked up. That's why I don't think it could be a sequel to Die Hard. It's
Imagine Reginald Johnson saying, means I'd cut off 3 of my fingers just to fuck her. Because we don't really know Sergeant
oh
Powell in
my
Die Hard.
god.
It was one night.
He's married and he's having a kid.
Yeah, we don't know if that's a stable relationship.
Oh my god.
She probably didn't take too well that he was out all night with those fucking Twinkies.
There was an emergency.
Yeah, but he didn't need to stay. They kept trying to tell him to leave.
He's a support system.
Hey, whatever. Maybe Reginald Johnson is the real last Boy Scout.
Where do we go next? Just like talk about
Taylor Negron is one of the most uncomfortable screen villains ever.
oh yeah. Because he tries to present himself as like very clean and polite, but there's something disgusting just like crawling beneath his surface. And it's like waiting to burst out. Like he just can't wait to fuck people up. And it's
Well, I say he's the polar opposite of Bruce Willis. Bruce Willis feels compelled to be the good guy to his own detriment. And Milo, he revels in being the bad guy.
yeah, that's it's little things, little simple things like that make the movie feel more like fulfilling, you know.
Yeah. What's what gives it's what makes the film actually stand out instead of just being a stupid action movie about trying to stop sports gambling. I guess like, if you write down the plot of this movie, it's like 2 paragraphs really, like at most. But all the stuff that makes it interesting is just the stuff in the margins of it.
mhm.
So
And there was going to be a lot more to Milo, and I'm kind of okay with them taking this out, where he was going to be a snuff film producer,
mhm.
and you in the finale you even get to go to his production studio, and it's a little grisly.
Yeah, I can imagine like how you would work that in would be difficult, but I think that background is kind of appropriate for the character.
Oh, it's totally appropriate for the character.
No, but I mean like thematically too. I mean, he profits off of making other people kill each other on film.
Yeah,
And what are the villains doing?
same shit with football.
Yeah, it's football. Football is like a long snuff film. Watching people kill each other. It reminds me of there's a great Norm Macdonald joke where he says, MMA and kickboxing are gonna come together to form a new sport called murder. Like that's that's kind of the vibe I get. I've also heard like boxing. I mean, if you listen to like boxers like late in life, they're so like clearly damaged from like the amount of head injuries they've had. Like I've heard people describe boxing as almost murder.
Jesus.
I mean, that's what football kind of is. We're paying these people to just destroy themselves. Like, and somehow Tom Brady gets to look all right.
Yeah, like what the fuck.
Yeah.
Like if
Like,
you made The Last Boy Scout today, you have to make Tom Brady like a minor villain.
Yes. Yeah, the quarterback who replaced Jimmy Dix.
Oh, okay, but I guess because we're just kind of be hopping around anyways. I want to get into a little bit of like the additional stuff that was cut from the film.
Yeah.
Okay,
Go
so
ahead.
there was a little more in terms of the political connections to football and how they kind of help each other profit, especially with like white America, particularly. It is not subtle at all that they're making comparisons to basically like slave traders and like
Yes.
plantation owners,
Mm.
especially with I guess the head honcho Marcone. You know,
I think it's kind of bold that this was a point being made in '91. Like that feels like a conversation that would be difficult to have even
yeah,
now.
yeah,
And I mean, I think maybe because I think the free agent debate was happening at that time, like free agency. Because I mean, if you especially with baseball, baseball was like almost straight up slavery for the players. Like they couldn't like compete. They couldn't like get salary raises. It was just awful until like the '80s. And it's just but and then people turned and blamed free agency for like the decline in football, like as being a like, a heroic sport. Like that's actually one of the opening lines in the movie is like, are there any heroes left in football? And this movie kind of has like a very cynical answer, which is that there were never heroes in football. I mean, the whole system of football is a lie.
there's I mean I want to bring up a little bit more of the political stuff really quick. Senator Boehner, the dude who fucks up Hallenbeck's career and
Yeah.
eventually has to end up saving. There was gonna be like a little diversion to Catalina where a showdown was gonna happen. So you think it's gonna be like the third act finale, but it turns out it's like a 5 act movie. So you know this movie's like an hour and a half long. It's kind of like The
Yes.
Predator, where there's like an hour of finale missing, but this works
Uh,
much better.
it's worked a lot better than the fucking Predator did.
Yeah, so much
Mainly
more.
because it was very clear the studio was trying to change the Predator into a completely different beast than what it was originally intended to be.
Yeah, and this one streamlines not to its detriment, I don't think. There's some stuff that plays a little more interesting, but like, okay, so the stuff with Baynard and Marcone and Milo, instead of rejecting the offer, he wants more money, and they're gonna
I
have.
like that element too, that he's not like like the senator isn't blocking anything for noble reasons. He's just trying to get more money out of a conspiracy.
Oh yeah, yeah, no, it's great, and so they're still setting up Hallenbeck, but they're gonna have him like die with Baynard instead of like an assassination attempt at a football stadium. That's all. That's all new final stuff. Um, but they're gonna go to like a party in Catalina with like a bunch of rich people, and it sounds like a weird diversion, but I kind of like it that the like the 1% basically the upper ruling class is just a bunch of
Mhm.
like rich socialites who kind of are separate from the rest of the world. And there's like a lot of description of like how the island's surrounded by fog, and like
Mhm.
there's a boat chase in the fog where
It would
they're trying to
it
like
would be a little weird to like jump there. I'll be
it
honest.
would be very weird, but the setting is really cool. And I if there's another like a movie that for whatever reason has a finale take place in Catalina, I'd be
Mm.
very interested in seeing it done that way. Boehner dies in this version.
Mm.
The assassination attempt is successful, and there's a little bit where because they exchange the money, but it's fake money, and then they blow him up with the thing on the boat, right? We don't see the explosion or hear it because there's a chase from a helicopter chasing Hallenbeck and Jimmy and Darian on a boat thing. It's fucking crazy. I'm not gonna get all into every detail of it. But then they're like, oh, okay, there they are. Like that boat's working better than we are. But they're going in a circle. It's weird. And when they get to the boat, there's like a gaping hole in the center of it, and
Okay.
everyone's like dead and strung out on it. So they're like, oh fuck. And to
Was Darian in all versions of the
yep,
script?
she's in all of them. Uh,
Okay.
the big major changes start occurring when Hallenbeck's taken from the front of his home. That's normal.
Mm.
But what you don't see is that they take his wife with them too,
Uh,
and they're gonna take her to Milo's production studio to hold her hostage until Hallenbeck dies. And the plan is to kill them both in the long run, and then Milo
yeah.
gets a little extra profit on the side. And
Yeah.
it's there's some stuff that's a little too gross, like
That sounds like it was gonna get gross.
yeah,
I'm really glad though it didn't involve the wife.
me too. This is better.
It worked better with just the daughter. Even though it has the line, your daughter will get to see what a hot date I am.
Yeah, that's
Might be one of the most skin crawling quotes in a movie.
Yeah, like this I like the viciousness and the nastiness of this movie. There's some stuff that I would have preferred cut back a little more on. Like there's
I think it
limits, I think.
I think it rides the line well enough.
I mean, he gets fucked up and
Yeah, he gets thrown to a fucking helicopter blade,
yeah.
which that effect is so good.
Like, did they actually kill him?
Yeah, that look. I don't know how they did that, but it's real good.
Like, he had a twin brother, and they're like, "Look, we
Yeah,
fucked up on set, but we'll pay you X amount." Like, that's why the budget ballooned. They're like, "Here's $20 million if you keep your
to
mouth
pay off
shut."
the Run family.
Rest in peace, because he passed away a couple years ago.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's so good in this.
yeah, he's good. He had a great career. He should have had a bigger one. Speaking of people who had it, there was a line in this that made me super depressed. When Damon Wayans gets thrown off the highway bridge and lands on top of a car.
hmm
And he's like, folks, it's nothing. I'm professional. He's like doing this, like, there's me and there's Super Dave. And because Super Dave just passed away.
Oh,
If you don't know who Super Dave is, fucking look him up. Because it'll make your day better. They did a tribute to him on the Jimmy Kimmel show that was real good.
that sounds nice. I don't know how much more descriptive you want me to get into the Milo stuff and Pablo, the other henchman that does not get his face smashed in. Pablo plays a bigger role instead of just kind of like, I assume he dies at one point. I'm sure he does in like one of the explosions in the finale.
This is one of those movies where it does get kind of hard to keep track of all the henchmen.
Yeah.
They keep like bringing new ones in and old ones keep leaving, and you're like, wait, what the fuck? Like, who's working for who? That becomes a bit of a problem in watching it.
It was always a problem in the script a little bit, but there's enough moments with them that when I'm reading through it, it reads fine. But I can see it being a problem when you're putting it all together on the screen, you know? Like, sometimes less is more, guys. Shane
Yeah.
Black. And Pablo gets, like, his throat gutted, like, eviscerated by Hallenbeck's Medal of Honor in his house, which is, like, a great... Oh no, it's great. And so like he's bleeding out with the Medal of Honor hanging with like the little strap. So it's like the red, white, and blue with like the red spurting all over it.
That's pretty fucking
Oh,
funny.
it's awesome. But then again, they're like, that's right when they come back from Catalina. So they go from the house to Catalina to back to the house, and then to Marcone's. Baynard's dead by this point. Jimmy is taken hostage along with the wife. But he goes to rescue Jimmy at Marcone's, but you find out there, because there's like a man in black type agent kind of lurking in the background along with these other villains, and you find out that it's Baynard's son. And that's set up earlier in the script too, but it's like, again, this thing is like, it's too much. I'm glad they streamlined it.
This sounds like 3 movies.
Yeah. And so he was like in on the whole thing too, but he also wanted revenge and Hallenbeck because he like fucked up his face previously. And so he comes back for this one scene, and then Jimmy shoots him, like he just blows him out a window with a shotgun. It's like, you didn't need that, you know. I kind of do like it though, because it's like, look at all the hands that are like involved in like this giant scheme. So it makes it feel more like a conspiracy thriller.
I think it's better that this has a light touch more to it. I think that actually makes its point a little better. Because it kind of just shows how people can casually go along with things.
Yeah.
It's like in Network when, like, by the end of it, they're like talking about an assassination, like it's just a boardroom meeting. Like, I mean, that's really what we get to. We're basically at a point where they're like, that'd be cheaper to kill the senator than to pay him off. Like, no one's really thinking about, hey, we're about to assassinate a sitting senator. Like, it's nope, doesn't matter. It's about money.
And then that makes Jimmy's stuff land more in that way,
Yeah.
because you see how he fell into drugs and stuff like that. And when people become addicted, it's not like a pre-planned thing, you know. But there is a line I wish that was in the movie, or maybe it is and I just completely missed it. Because Darian and him do team up like they do in the movie for a little bit, and it's really cute because, you know, he lost his kid. And she's like, aren't you a drug addict? He's like, I was. When'd you quit? And he goes, this morning. And it's like, oh, that's nice.
That's nice, yeah. Nice little line.
Yeah, but the script keeps referring to him as like looking like shit because he's cold turkey in the finale.
Uh-huh.
And so he's got to like keep up with all this, and he's like, "Oh, like I'm gonna fucking die." He's literally gonna die, and he feels like death. You know, that would have been kind of fun to lean into more. But again, Damon Wayans and Bruce Willis like hated each other, so I don't think they wanted to spend more time together than they had to.
Yeah, you can really tell in the end with the voiceover.
Yeah.
Oh, they wouldn't even be in like a recording booth with each other, which is a shame. They don't. They honestly they have enough chemistry, but not like I wouldn't say great chemistry in this. You kind of get the sense that Damon Wayans is really trying and Bruce Willis isn't. But that's actually it seems that's just kind of their characters. But hey, you know.
Yeah. It does work for the benefit of their performances in a weird way. You're right, and because like again, Hallenbeck isn't like some malicious asshole. He is an asshole, but it's less of like trying to be one, and more so that he just stopped giving a fuck.
Yeah, well, I really like how he plays it because he's not playing it like super cool. Like it's a really sad performance. Like it's just a guy who just doesn't give a fuck anymore in a real sense. Like that's what I say. Shane Black is great at writing fuck ups in a way that feels more real. Where like you have fuck ups in movies where they're kind of like, oh, they drink a lot, and then here it's like, no, if you were like that, you would destroy your life. You'd become a toxic person to other people.
Like you would generally not be fun to be around.
Yeah.
And
Well, it's like the nice guy's like right in the middle where like you've been laughing at like Ryan Gosling's antics, but like when you see him being drunk at like 10 in the morning with his daughter to the point where she has to drive, it's like just so sad.
yeah, and God, the nice guy is so fucking good.
This guy's is great. Another movie that sets up a sequel that we'll never get.
that's the thing. Shane Black movies, there's two kinds. There's one that sets up a sequel to take place on Christmas, as the end of this movie kind of does, and The Nice Guys does with the setting.
Yes.
And the kind that take place on Christmas.
Mm.
The Predator fits into neither of those categories, and that's why that's why it's the worst one. Yeah.
Although when did he wrote Monster Squad with that guy, right?
Fred Decker, yeah.
Yeah. What was that set on Halloween?
That was Halloween. Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
So there you go.
But it wasn't set up for a sequel, or was it set up for a sequel? I don't know. Kind of.
I think I'm willing to bet there was sequel spate in it.
Oh, the
Or
end
at least,
when the military goes up to the kids and like, who are you guys? And they're like, we're the Monster Squad.
yeah.
It's a cute movie.
Yeah. That's why I like Iron Man 3, because it was like Shane Black finally got to do his sequel. He just didn't have to do the legwork of the first two.
Woo! I believe, like, this is a full belief of mine, like a real legitimate belief, that every franchise, like Iron Man or something like that, needs to have an entry set on a holiday. Maybe not Christmas, but something. I want to see these characters, if I'm following them for more than one film, I want to see them interact with the world in interesting ways.
Yeah.
And holidays
same.
are a good way to do that.
Well, the thing I've always said about those Avengers movies is I would be perfectly fine with like a 90-minute movie that was just those characters hanging out.
I mean, seriously, like, hey, I know you don't love Age of Ultron, and a lot of people don't.
Well, the best part in that movie is them just hanging out.
Yep.
Like, that's the highlight of that film, and then it's all downhill from there. But I enjoyed that bit.
Yeah, like across the board, that's what everyone wanted to see. Like, who gives a fuck about Thanos? Like, do you really? I know a lot of people say he's the best villain. He's not. You don't care. I don't care. We just like Josh Brolin sometimes.
Josh Brolin gives a good performance for a character that is very weak on paper. But whatever. That movie's fine with a lowercase f.
They were trying to clean up their acts
You vacuum, I'll dust.
when they got dragged into the dirty world of sports corruption.
So you're gonna bribe some senators to legalize gambling? Legalize sports gambling.
Now,
Son, we're going to a ball game.
they've got one shot
What am I gonna do? Point at the bad guys and shoot!
to get the goods on the bad guys.
Just once, I would like to hear you scream.
Play some rap music. Out of ideas, man. Take your best shot.
if they don't kill each other first.
That was a bomb? That or a hell of a factory recall.
It's a very underrated film. I think it should be talked about more.
I
Yeah, I can't think of much else to say except just go watch it. You know,
mhm.
like don't listen to two idiots talk about it on some shitty podcast. Go watch the fucking thing.
I really wish that it was streaming like on Netflix or something.
It's on Hulu.
It is? Oh,
It's on
what the
Hulu
fuck?
right
Everyone go watch it on Hulu.
now. Go watch it on Hulu.
Oh, let this get like a second life because like I think the Blu-ray might be out of print or something like that.
I got the only version I got was at a used DVD store, and it's like one of those like very first generation DVDs where one side is full screen and the other side is widescreen.
Yeah, that's
So it doesn't look great.
you know what? At least it's not the pan and scan transfer. Like I have a copy of Starman that's that shit.
Hmm.
It's unwatchable. It's like 2/3
Yeah.
of the screen are gone.
They do that with fucking. I have a problem with the Big Trouble in Little China DVD because it has both options, but I never know which one I'm selecting until I start the fucking movie.
Oh, it doesn't say on the DVD.
Well, no, it says like it's like, do you want letterboxed or pan and scan? And I can't tell which one I'm highlighting because of the way the colors are.
Oh no.
Yeah, it's bad. That's a problem. Low pan.
I think I think Criterion should do an update, a 4K update of The Last Boy Scout.
Yes.
There you go.
They should start getting Shane Black's shit.
Yeah.
Do it.
I could imagine people being put off by it, and it's very vile. It's crazy cynical. It does end on an optimistic note, much like we were talking about the new Halloween.
It has the greatest final lines ever.
Old Satan
the
Claus.
Yeah. That whole bit is great.
If anyone out there knows where I can get a Satan Claus shirt, please let me know, because I would love to own it.
He's out there and he's just getting stronger. And Satan Claus is a metaphor for capitalism.
Bruce Willis, Damon Wayans, The Last Boy Scout.
Danger's my middle name.
Mine's Cornelius. Tell anybody I kill you.
But yeah, that's The Last Boy Scout.
Yeah.
Incredible film. I believe you referred to it as lower tier Shane Black in one of our previous episodes.
I think I was talking more in like the how it was seen by people.
Don't you fucking
no.
lie to me. No, but I as much as I love it, it's weird because most of his stuff is like all-timer for me. This is also an all-timer favorite of mine, but like it's probably like under Long Kiss Goodnight.
I love this more as a Tony Scott film than as a Shane Black script.
Yeah, and we talked a little bit about Tony Scott, and
Yeah. We probably should talk more, but I mean, it's hard. Just fucking go watch like Domino.
that's my favorite Tony Scott. I know that might be weird, but
We might be like the only three people that like it.
oh, it's just the shit.
It's three people. It's you, me, and Quentin Tarantino.
I don't even know if Richard Kelly likes it, and he wrote the fucking movie.
Yeah, but who listens to Richard Kelly?
Richard Kelly doesn't listen to Richard Kelly.
Did you see Southland Tales?
I did. I loved it,
Yeah.
though.
I don't know, man. I don't know. John Lovitz shows up.
Oh, yeah. That's not even the weirdest part.
What is that movie trying to say?
That corporations and warfare are being fed to us through our subconscious mind, and that society is drugging its inhabitants.
That's an example of like this. This is kind of like where I said I don't think the message is that deep in this film, or I mean the story, I should say. I don't think it's that deep. It's just told in the most convoluted way possible. Because you got like time traveling Vietnam vets and like it's a music number. and fucking doppelgangers.
Oh, it's way
And
too much, and I loved it.
I just that movie like made me just like hard. It was hard to look at. That was one where I'm like, I don't want to do this anymore.
It is not for everyone, for sure.
And everyone's screaming in that movie.
Oh, it's so
That's a big
loud.
problem. That's a big problem with Richard Kelly in general. Is everyone kind of talks like motherfucking motherfuck, like
Yeah.
fucking Kevin Smith, like sit the fuck down. Kevin Smith explaining time travel to Dwayne the Rock Johnson.
It's no the last Boy Scout.
No, it is not.
Yeah.
In fact, it is barely a movie. um, yeah. Remember Donnie? Remember when everyone loved Donnie Darko?
I think that's a John Hughes thing for me, where I missed it, and it just never stuck with me.
Everyone who liked it when I was in high school, I hated. So I like internalized it. But hey, I don't know. I would rather see Richard Kelly make more movies, though.
Yeah.
The world's better with him in it, and the world is poorer without Tony Scott.
Yeah, rest in peace. Check out all of Tony Scott's work. I'm sure at some point we're going to be talking about other movies he's done here.
Oh yeah, we'll definitely. I mean, Domino would definitely have to do.
Oh, Domino. Where Tom Waits just stumbles in for a 5-minute sequence to philosophize and then
That's
inspires the characters.
the perfect way to use Tom Waits in a movie.
The only better use of Tom Waits is in The Ballad of Buster Scruggs.
Yes, as an old prospect.
Oh, yeah. All
um,
right, I guess we should wrap up then. Last Boy
yes,
Scout.
as Boy
Greatest
Scout.
film ever made? Or one of?
Eh?
Yeah, I'll leave it up to you, the listener, the viewer. Thank
If you title this is the Last Boy Scout the real Die Hard sequel, I think you'll get a lot of clicks, and everyone will be angry at my Reginald Bill Johnson.
Oh yeah, no, that's definitely staying in, and I think that's the way to do it now.
Shout out to Reginald Bill Johnson, who's still alive, unlike Super Dave.
Matt, where can the people find you?
I'm at EmperorOTN at Twitter.com.
You can follow me at twitter.com/DEWGO Waffles, the Waffle Press. Like and subscribe. If you didn't like this, like and subscribe anyways, because you might find something you do like. So thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. We have been professionally unprofessional.